activated. Hello, so today we're going to be going through my formal report of my feasibility of a halfway house in Hickory, North Carolina, and the areas around it. Let's go ahead and start with my executive summary. Having this house is going to be beneficial to the area. This house will decrease domestic violence, offer temporary housing, and the employees who will be Hmong women will act as mediators to communicate back and forth between the families and the women. We'll be talking about the disadvantages as well. Those consist of the short-term housing and the cost to run this facility. So the good and the bad, that's what I'll be discussing today. So the advantages are that it reduces domestic violence in this area, not just the Hickory area, but also like Morganton, Statesville, if we do plan to branch out that far. The advantages are the reducing domestic violence, the temporary housing, and the mediation that the employees will offer. Reducing domestic violence. Let's see, 1 in 4 women suffer domestic violence, and by having this house, we are going to stop this cycle, the cycle of the woman going back to the abusive spouse. And it also acts as a safe place. And on my next slide, I'm going to show you the cycle. It starts with the abusive spouse who causes the physical and mental abuse to the woman. She therefore seeks help, and she finds our halfway house, which is right here. And after she finds us, what we do is we offer the help that she needs, like legal help, anything like that. And this X marks where we stop the cycle, we break the cycle so it doesn't continue. The temporary housing that we will offer, let's see, will be sheltering the battered and abused women and children. It will include safety cameras, 24/7 surveillance, and a fenced yard for extra protection. And by having this temporary housing, it allows the women to keep their jobs, so they aren't out looking for jobs, so they can continue to work. The mediation and the legal help, that's what the employees who work there will be doing. Now, when I say legal help, I don't mean represent them in court. What I mean is finding them pro bono lawyers. Those are lawyers that you don't pay, they do free work, and also legal help as in filing court-ordered DVOs or domestic violence orders or simple restraining orders. And why I wanted Hmong women to work in this halfway house is because they understand how our culture works, and therefore they can communicate efficiently a lot better. The disadvantages. The disadvantages would be the short-term stay versus the long-term stay. Of course, we would love to offer long-term to everybody. And also another disadvantage is the cost to run the facility. This short-term stay can only house those in need for so long, as well as host those, it can only house those in need for so long, and if they need longer stay periods, there are families that will host them in this area, and they will simply host them in exchange for work or a little bit of pay. And while they stay with us, they can be saving their money, so they will be saving their income And that way, whenever they have to leave our halfway house, they will have enough to hopefully pay their own rent, pay their own utilities, expenses like that. And the very last disadvantage is, of course, the expense in utilities. Everything just amounts over time. In order to safely, to smoothly run this operation, I propose that we have fundraisers, yard sales, and we even call and ask local businesses for their help. And also a website that accepts donations from those who don't have the time to come out and volunteer or help. This site will allow them to donate directly. This is a slide showing the strategy, the fundraisers and yard sales, asking local businesses. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the government does have grants and assistance available for these halfway houses as well. And the very last one is the donation website, which equals money. In the end, you have to take advantage of everything that is laid out there for you. In conclusion, I believe that this this halfway house for Hmong women will be very beneficial to the Hmong women in this area who do unfortunately suffer domestic violence. And this will decrease the domestic violence in our area. And I think ultimately there should be a halfway house in Hickory.